Stuart, can you please talk about the process of dropping negative psychic tension throughout the day and prior to class?
Well, there's a very simple exercise that I learned from Rudy and how to do this. You just sit in a chair, you let your arms drop at your side, and you just really deep inside yourself say, please help me to surrender all negative psychic tension. And be sure you say negative psychic tension, because everything is psychic tension. And you can do this for 10 or 15 minutes during the day. And, again, during the day when you have some spirit time, it'll really help you to drop negative psychic tension. And it's a simple exercise, and you begin to feel this tension. It just comes right off the ends of your hands. It's like a scum coming right off your hands. And there's another exercise that I can suggest where you just take your hands and you put them at your heart like this. And then you raise your arms into the sky with the palms upward. And you again ask, please help me to surrender all negative psychic tension. This exercise will go much deeper inside you. It'll go right into the heart chakra, deep into the heart chakra. You'll feel the Shakti entering your system through the palms of your hands, through the fingertips. It'll go down through the arms into the heart center. And then you just lower your hands like this. And then you just let them drop at your side and you ask for help to surrender all deep negative psychic tension. Now, it's a very powerful exercise. It'll really, help to cleanse your system inside, to relax you. I mean, these are exercises I learned from Rudy, and I'm just passing them on. And I suggest you use them. I mean, we all have tension. Even the greatest saint on the planet Earth has tension. And it's essential that we drop the tension, we get rid of it. Sometimes you can be walking down the street, you just let your arms drop at your side and you let the tension go. I know if I ever do healing work with people, which I've been doing quite a bit of lately, I have to take time afterwards to just drop all the tension that comes out of people's systems. So those are just a few exercises, that you can do. And you can do them a couple of times a day. And then another good exercise is just listen to your breathing. You can sit down, so hum. You inhale, you say so, exhale, you say hum. And you'll begin to feel this kind of calmness come over you, where all the thoughts get dissolved in I am that. I am one with everything, so hum. And it's truly important. I mean, look, I never met anyone more highly evolved than Rudy. And I used to see him do those exercises, I don't know how many times a day. I'd walk into his gallery, he'd be sitting there in his chair with his arms dropped at his side, his eyes closed, dropping tension. That's why I always say before the class, we can have a big social get together here and everybody talking and this and that and the other and sharing and laughing. But it's much more important that people prepare for the class. You bring the whole day with you. And you have to spend time before the class preparing for the class. By just sitting quietly, dropping tension, listening to your breathing. taking a walk around the block to let go of the tension. And then you come into the class and you're not going to spend the first 20 minutes trying to overcome the tensions inside you so that you can do some kind of a profound meditation. So all of these are methods. And I'm sure as you use these methods, you'll find your own methods or ways of relaxing. I don't suggest having a couple of shots of bourbon, to get yourself relaxed before meditation. But learn how to do it organically, or take some opioid to get yourself relaxed. All of that's just a substitute for what people can do organically on their own if they learn how to use the tools that they were born with to create that kind of inner calm and inner peace. I hope that's clear, because I don't know how to simplify it anymore, or get it any clearer than that. These are all just simple exercises that are available to all of us. And they will help. They will help you get calm inside. They will help you go deeper into yourself so you can truly release the blocks, the tensions. I had somebody ask me today about, in the class I have in Europe and the Middle East, about, movement, and, Kriyas, basically, they were asking about. So I told them, look, every day I have classes here or I do hands-on healing with people. And you cannot believe the amount of tension, that comes out of people in these classes. I just put my hand between their shoulder blades and right at the heart chakra, and people explode. There's so much tension around that chakra. They just explode and get rid of it, And this is going on every day, and it's something that all of you can take advantage of in one way or another. I don't know how, people live all over the place, but, come to New York for a week. New York's a pretty cool place to spend a week. Get this kind of training, develop your inner life, get rid of these blocks and tensions that I have learned how to get rid of them in people because I've been doing it for years. Or, figure out another way. I don't know. I'm just telling you, this is available. And I used to go to Rudy's gallery, just for that. You would do this hands-on work. You would, meditate. It was incredible how much tension and how many of the blocks in myself got released because I would sit with him.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Brad. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, could I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
I'm just curious if the old tensions that are dissolved, do they coalesce again? Is it a constant process to stay
Yes,
clear of that?
it's a constant process, Melissa, constant process. You don't do it consciously for a day or two and all these tensions come back. You really have to be conscientious in doing meditation because, you might have a great class, and then all of a sudden, God knows what happened. Something dramatic happened and the tensions come back and you don't do anything about it for 3 or 4 days. I have people, well, I couldn't come to class because this and that. It's the time you should come to class in order to break up those tensions inside and keep them from really taking over. So yes, it's a It's a continuum. You have to continuously do this. Work on your, break yourself down, be conscious about yourself. Learn how to get the heart open. Learn how to break down all of the walls and barriers that surround the human heart. And I can tell you from running this Kundalini cardiology work that I do here, the tensions that surround human beings' hearts, it's staggering. It's staggering. People, they begin to hibernate inside those tensions. So one has to do this. And eventually you get to a place where you can manage all of this. You can feel it coming, you know exactly what to do with it. You get free of it, it doesn't take over. You know, you get to that place where you can manage all that stuff. But that takes time and it takes a lot of inner work on oneself. And it takes, really, one has to take advantage of what God puts in their life. And I mean this, we're all given these incredible gifts, but we're so stuck in the patterns and the conditioning of our lives that these gifts go right past us and we don't recognize how important they are and what we have to do, you know, to use them for our spiritual life. Does anyone else have a question?
Sometimes during the meditation, my body became not always, but very hot, like a heat come up inside the body. Is that, I think this is good, but I think not always, sometimes. Is that Chakti is moving around the body, or what is that?
Don't worry about that. That's just the Kundalini energy burning poisons inside you, burning up the blocks inside you, that heat. You know, the Tibetans, they, I mean, I don't know if they still do this, but, you know, 100 years ago, 200, they would go out naked into the winter and they would meditate trying to build that kind of heat. I mean, this is one of their disciplines they used to do, the Tibetan lamas, to build up the kind of heat you're talking about. You know,
just not long time, just a few seconds. Give me so hard.
I don't know. I was never there when they did it, but I read about it. You know, and they would go do that you know, to try to activate Kundalini and create that kind of heat, because that heat burns up all of the, you know, problematic places in a human being. I don't suggest you go out into the
no, I don't.
You know, but I did read that Tibetans used to do stuff like that, just to activate the kind of heat that you're talking about.
That is not easy to do that.
Not easy, no, but it comes with practice. It comes organically with practice.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, dear. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, I have a question, Bob Sink.
Yes, Bob.
When does one, what type of tension does one send to the Hara, and when does one use the tension dropping exercises?
Well, when you sit and meditate, I suggest you send all of the tension to the Hara. You know, I mean, there's other ways of using tension. Look, we have to work during the day, you know, and to do creative work during the day, whatever it is, you know, it uses our tension. Look, you look at a place like New York City, it's a product of millions of people's tensions that built that place. Invested in economics and money, apartment buildings, office buildings, playgrounds, parks. It was all tension that created that world. Understand? And so that's one use of tension. Another use of it is when you sit and work in yourself, you take the tensions into the chakra below the navel and you learn how to burn that up. And the third one is what I described to Brad before. You drop, the excess tension. You try to digest as much as you can. You try to use as much. I mean, look, every book I wrote, everything I've done in my life was using tension in a creative way in the world. When I ran my business years ago, it was using tension in a creative way in the world, so it could support the things of my life. So that becomes a conscious use of tension. And then you have to absorb and digest tension. And that turns into chi, which gives you an internal power. And then there's so much tension that you eventually, you also have to sit down and just drop it and get rid of all that negative psychic energy. So this is what I've done in my life. There are 3 ways I've used tension. I used to use my overflow of tension to develop ashrams. It went into building ashrams. It went into writing books. It went into a million projects I've had in my life. I have another project going on now, which I'm really excited about. And that is using my tension to create positive things. Instead of sitting around and yelling at everybody and fighting with everybody, and getting into all kinds of arguments. And, I'd much rather use it to develop positive situations. And that takes time to learn how to channel it that way. So basically, there are 3 ways. You got to use energy in life, and that usually is the overflow of tension, but used in a positive way, channeled to create a good life for oneself. Then you got to absorb and turn tension into chi, because you need that kind of power in order to even do the other, And then there's just dumping it, getting rid of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Bob. Does anyone else have a question?
Hi, Stuart. I noticed in this meditation, particularly my focus getting clouded by the fog of either an emotion that would come up or thoughts or just the stuff, as you call it. And it just felt like a fog and like trying to get through the fog. Could you talk about just the quality of that?
Well, look, what's coming up is what's there. It's inside you. You are a fairly emotional person, Paula, and that's inside you. And in the meditation class, what is inside you will come up. And it can come up and there can be clarity about it. Now I can take it and turn it into chi, or it becomes a fog that somehow you got to navigate your way through. So, look, what you described is not an unhealthy situation. What you do with it can be an unhealthy situation, because we need to bring up all of these buried things in us. They're like, it's like drilling for oil, you go through thousands of layers of rock and shale and this and that and dirt till you hit a pocket of oil. That's a pocket of oil. It comes up and then it's what you do with it. You know, so what you described isn't negative. It's how we approach it and how conscious we are of the way to use it that turns into positive or negative.
And it's this, when you hit the pocket of oil, there's such clarity, and it's so, the energy is completely different. The contrast of it, it's
That's right.
amazing.
The pocket of oil is not shale. You got to grind your way through the shale to get to the oil.
Yes.
And I hate to talk about oil. It's a very difficult subject in today's world, you know, draining the earth of oil. But, you know, it's just a metaphor. It's a metaphor for the incredible creative areas that exist inside people and how we are responsible, you know, to get past the shale, past the bedrock, past all of the layers of stuff to get to those incredibly remarkable creative sources of energy. And they're not in the head, they're deep, deep inside us. They're way in the remotest areas of the unconscious, these areas of creativity. And of course, the greatest pocket of oil, if you'll pardon the metaphor, is connecting with God, connecting with energy that is infinite in the universe.
The Satnam exercise is so helpful with that. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
I'd like to ask something about the sleep state and your consciousness or unconsciousness, including dreaming and everything else that happens while you're sleeping. I know that you can do things consciously in your sleep, but can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the body is relaxed, you're calm, and then suddenly these incredible pockets of energy come, this dream state, which is truly a creative state of being, and it's on a higher plane. But we can enter that state because we truly have, our body is calm. We're quiet inside, we're asleep. And then that dream state will, you know, I mean, I don't really interpret those things. I'm not interested in that. But, you know, they're like images of what's possible for creativity in life. It represents a level. I mean, look, there are a lot of painters I like a lot, like surrealist painters that used to paint in the 20s and 30s, and, you know, and they would use the dream state in order to create their images. And and it was a level of comprehension that transcend. Look, there's the material world, there's the emotional world, there's the mental world, and there are all of these worlds that exist within. I mean, just finished a book, you know, Behind Illusion's Veil. All of these worlds that we think are real, but exist within the world of Maya. You get beyond illusion's veil, behind illusion's veil, you get into imagination, you get into all the elements of art and music and, you know, higher creativity. Then you get beyond that, you get into, you know, a state of nothingness and a oneness with spirit, which is infinite in the universe. All of that happens because we quiet ourselves and we can tap those energies deep inside us. And it kind of begins with the dream state. And there's the astral plane, and you know, it's endless. So it's behind illusion's veil that you begin to tap dream state, imagination, line, form, color, all the things artists use, the music that is created, comes from on the other side of illusion, all of that stuff. That people, today spend $100 million to get one of these paintings. And somebody went to the other side of illusion in order to create.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, yes. And we limit ourselves to the material world, the fear of what the future is going to be, all this crap that is on this side of the veil of illusion. And the whole purpose of the meditation is to get to the other side of this stuff, open to the infinite possibilities that the universe can provide for us creatively.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Lynn. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And I got a whole project now going with this book. I wrote a book of poems. There's 120 poems, and I'm starting to meet with people that I'm hoping will be, excited enough to write music to the poems and create songs. And a whole world opening up for me that came from this, and I'm really excited about it, And so, we'll see what happens. But the whole purpose of this was getting behind the veil of illusion into the world of imagination, into the world of, ultimately into a oneness with God. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, great questions tonight, really great questions tonight. God bless you all and thank you. There'll be a class tomorrow night. I'm hoping to see everyone. And again, I keep saying it, I'll say it once more. I am so grateful to be here, that each and every one of you attend these classes, and that your presence here is making me go so deep inside myself that it's opening up worlds of experience that are totally remarkable. So God bless you all and thank you. And I'm looking forward to the class tomorrow.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Night.
Good night.
you.